It was a long fight.
Right now at 10 o'clock, the Tarrant County Sheriff taking us moment by moment through the death of an incarcerated man, a death he tells us should have never happened. I'm Doug Dunbar. Good evening. Welcome in. It's a CBS News Texas exclusive tonight. Tarrant County Sheriff Bill Wayburn also, as you see here, opens up the doors of the Tarrant County Jail for all of us to see tonight. And this is the same jail at the center of so much controversy in recent weeks, which all came to a head with the death of Anthony Johnson Jr. So, second tier, dead center, that's the shakedown of the cell.
Yeah.
Right. So walk me through what you're seeing as far as how your officers are handling everything.
Well, they're talking to him. They're talking about, hey, we need to go down there. He's not wanting to go. You can tell that the struggle started. And pay close attention here, because as that struggle started, is that those 3 or 4 officers cannot handle him. And you see him pushed back and knocked out of the way there. The officers described him having this superhuman strength, and they could not control him. They could not control him.
The moment the group of officers finally do gain control is when Officer Rafael Moreno placed his knee on Anthony Johnson's back. Within seconds, he was handcuffed. After that is where Wayburn says it all went wrong.
If they have to, when you take somebody to the ground, they can put a knee on the back until they get this person cuffed. And when he's cuffed, they're to stand up, and that's it.
So the second the cuffs go on, the pressure is released.
Should be released.
That's your protocol.
Yes.
Okay. And clearly in this case,
yes,
that did not happen.
Right. And if you went to our academy today, that's exactly how they had trained you.
Moreno and Lieutenant Joel Garcia were initially fired, but both men have since been reinstated and are now on administrative leave. A development I addressed with the sheriff late this afternoon. When we last spoke in this very same office, you told me that you felt that the people who should be held accountable in what happened were held accountable.
Absolutely.
You still feel the same way?
I absolutely feel the same way. I feel no different than I did.
In response to the jailer's reinstatement, the Johnson family released a statement saying in part, quote, "A glimpse of justice came when Moreno and Lieutenant Garcia were terminated, although that really was not enough. To learn that those jailers who clearly were in the wrong, along with others, have been reinstated the day before the family lays Anthony to rest feels like a major step backwards." Does the Tarrant County Jail need a Department of Justice investigation?
No, I don't think so at all.
Why?
Not that I'm afraid of it. If they show up tomorrow, that's fine. But I think it'd be a waste of resources. We passed jail standards last week where they knew everything. They knew everything. And we passed with flying colors.
Wayburn says every jailer goes through extensive training, including additional training on de-escalation techniques for handling mental health and suicidal inmates. But the sheriff says expectations versus his budget and staffing leave those who man the tiers and cells in a tough spot.
In this day and age, we got this young jailer over here, and we'd like for him to be a degreed psychologist, have a medical degree, and also a social work degree, and be a 10th degree black belt, along with just knowing a little bit about the law. So we expect a lot of them out of them, and we don't have enough training. That's as simple as I can say it is I want more training for them, and it's, what can we afford with the staffing we got?
In 2017, the sheriff says 25% of the jail population was under jail-provided mental health care, internally known as MHMR. In 2024, those under MHMR care now make up 66% of the jail's population. Adding to the dramatic rise, a backlog of available beds at state mental health facilities. And right now you have 112 who need to be in a mental health facility with the state.
That's right.
And you can't move them anywhere.
Can't move them anywhere.
Really?
And they are a danger to themselves and others, according to the court. So they got to stay where they're at.
Inside the jail, Executive Chief Deputy Charles Eckert walked us through the very same process every arrested person goes through. He says before anyone is ever put into a cell, they're asked a series of questions about their medical history.
Let's say that inmate says no to every question, but they're having difficulties, their thought process, they're slow and so forth. The officers are trained to immediately do an MHMR request. If they answer yes to medical, then the very next step is MHMR.
Johnson's family says the 31-year-old was in a mental health crisis when he died. Wayburn and Eckert say Johnson entered the jail relatively healthy.
He was able to communicate. He talked to all my officers, answered all their questions, admitted he was schizophrenic, okay? But He was cleared for general population due to his behavior and the fact that he wasn't having an episode at that time.
And when you say due to his behavior, for clarity, he was fine,
He was
technically.
acting just like you and I are right now.
Okay, so there was no need for this kind of sign that identifies him as violent MHMR.
He would have never been housed in general population. If that was the case, he would have been in a cell like this.
But his words likely mean little to the Johnson family and other critics who say it may be time for Wayborn to resign.
When they say the buck stops with you, what's your response to that?
When unfortunate and tragic things happen like that, we put it under the microscope. My job is to hold those people accountable. And we did that, and we are doing that.
A couple other items of note regarding this tonight. The Johnson family has called for Sheriff Wayborn to release more of the video, including the 14-minute version that they say they were shown. So far, only 6 minutes have been made public. I did ask the sheriff about that, and he said that if the family makes that request directly to him, it's something that he would consider. The funeral service, by the way, for Anthony Johnson Jr. is now set for tomorrow.